In preparation for the new Alien Covenant movie, I've gone through and rewatched every Alien movie. I've found that there is a recurring theme that is subtly placed throughout the Alien movie franchise, that faith is worthless against science. It reminds me of a quote from Penn Jillette. If every trace of any religion were wiped out and nothing were passed on, it would never be created exactly that way again. There might be some other nonsense in its place, but not that exact nonsense. If all of science were wiped out, it would still be true, and someone would find a way to figure it all out again. Now, as the Alien movies have progressed, we actually see that this is true. For example, in the movie Prometheus, mankind is going to explore a planet where they believe alien life exists. Throughout Prometheus, we see that the ancient astronaut theory is basically correct. And even though mankind has had no contact with our creators, dubbed the engineers, for thousands of years, man has still made spaceships, cryostasis chambers. I've always called this hypersleep. I believe that's canon with the film franchises. And humans are also terraforming by 2179 at the latest, since the movie Aliens talks about 70 families on LV-426 that are terraforming that planet. Within the alien universe, mankind has mastered the sciences needed to make an empire in space, just like the engineers had done. And we see that those sciences work in a very, very similar way, meaning the hard facts, the sciences, were discovered to be the same, just like Gillette discusses. But going over the movies and the issue of faith failing, in Alien, the first film, the year is 2122, and the crew of the Nostromo puts their faith in their science officer, the company they work for, and their own weapons and technology. As it turns out, the science officer is pre-programmed to follow Special Order 937, which states that any alien life form takes all priority and should be returned to the company at any cost. Even the crew is expendable for the sake of getting an alien to Earth. Now, I don't believe the crazy people at Weyland-Yutani have any inclination that an alien life form might be hostile. They probably think that they'd find something primitive, or it may all be part of Weyland's research for the engineers. And since Peter Weyland dies in Prometheus in the year 2093, along with pretty much everyone else on that mission, there's no one to report back to the company that there are hostile aliens out in space. So Special Order 937 never gets amended to address that problem. Either way though, faith in Weyland-Yutani, it ultimately kills everyone but Third Officer Ellen Ripley. In the director's cut, there's also a really disturbing scene that shows what the alien has been doing with the crew members of the Nostromo. I'm not sure if it was in the theatrical cut, but I don't remember it. While working her way off of the ship, Ripley finds an area where the alien has terraformed its gooey human cages all over the wall, and we see that it has been keeping the humans alive, but as hostages waiting for facehuggers to utilize them. A conscious crew member asks Ripley to kill them, and she obliges by burning up the room, which, in hindsight, was a horrific decision. The alien aboard the Nostromo was just a warrior drone. It didn't have the capacity to lay eggs, and it would have no way back to the ship where the other eggs were lying dormant. That means none of those crew members were harboring chest bursters, and cutting them off the wall would have saved their lives with no long-term repercussions. I get everyone was terrified and tried to make the best decision possible, but man, that is depressing to see knowing what we know now. However, at the end of Alien, Ripley puts her faith into the company again by trusting their machines to function correctly while she's in hypersleep for 6 weeks. Now, personally, I would have been so shaken that I'd choose to stay awake for that short length of time rather than be out cold and vulnerable. But I'm assuming there's an issue with food supplies or something of that nature to where Ripley didn't have a choice but to go to sleep. That brings us to Aliens, where we learn that Ripley's escape ship malfunctioned, and she has been in hypersleep for 57 years, making it the year 2179 now. I rewatched this with the special edition copy, and again, I saw a scene that I don't remember. One of the first things Ripley does after she's revived is ask about her daughter, Amanda, who was about to turn 11 in 2122. It turns out that Amanda had died just 2 years prior to Ripley being found, which helps explain a lot of her quick attachment to Rebecca Jordan, aka Newt, later on in the film. But hearing about Amanda, I was not alright afterwards. I spent the rest of that movie just heartbroken over it. But here again in Aliens, her faith in Weyland-Yutani causes Ripley to lose her life, her daughter, and for some reason, Ripley hasn't learned anything from Special Order 937, and she trusts Weyland-Yutani again when they tell her they only want to destroy the alien on LV-426. Ripley also puts her faith in the Colonial Marines, and again, she gets badly burnt by everything she puts faith in. Carter J. Burke, under the order of Weyland-Yutani, tried to use Ripley as an incubator to sneak the alien back to Earth. And all the Marines are picked off pretty quickly, so in both movies now, Ripley has only survived based on her own instincts and desire to survive. The franchise gets even more on the nose about the faith issue in Alien 3. Ripley crash lands in a place of religious extremists who are also prisoners that refuse to leave that planet, even though the prison has shut down and it's now just kind of a place with 25 crazy men. Definitely a unique situation. Okay, so Alien 3 has men of great religious conviction. And what does that get them? Picked off one by a dog-alien hybrid. Symbolically, it's as if the religious zealots are being killed off by their own dogma. Because had they not chosen to stay isolated on that planet to pursue their religious convictions, they would not have been killed by a dog alien. Like I said, Alien 3 gets really on the nose about faith. Even Ripley herself has to die by the end so that Weyland-Yutani doesn't get a hold of the alien in her chest. Then, Alien Resurrection shows that Ripley's faith in herself to solve the problem was also worthless. Because now, in the approximate year of 2379, Weyland-Yutani is gone, and the government itself has cloned Ripley and her alien back into existence. The message has gotten very clear by now. Faith in anything will not stop, hinder, or change science. Similarly, Weyland-Yutani and the government always have faith that they can handle these alien creatures, and every time they fail to do so. Biology is a science, but by trying to comprehend an alien creature based on what humans can comprehend, that's limiting the facts of science to what man can understand. That concept is what thwarts the forces who want the alien every single time. The issue of faith not being able to save you can easily carry over to AVP, where Charles Weyland has faith in his money, his experts, his finding, his technology, and it all turns into a death sentence for him and all but one member of the expedition team. Even the Predators have faith in their own ability to control the aliens. Yet, they end up losing to them, thus creating Antarctica as a containment measure. Then, for some reason, even though they should know better, the Predators bring a fallen, contaminated comrade on board their ship, who soon releases a chest burster that kills every Predator on the vessel and ultimately releases the aliens on Earth for the events of Alien vs. Predator Requiem. And finally, in Prometheus, we're given so many weird things that are difficult to make sense of, but we get bombarded with Elizabeth Shaw being religious. She keeps her faith despite her lover dying, despite almost giving birth to an alien squid baby, despite meeting the engineers who wanted her dead, and she even demands that the android David tell her where exactly her cross is before she'll leave LV-233. Now, one of the prologues for Alien Covenant gives some more information on what happened to Dr. Shaw and David. They seem to have found the engineers' home planet, but I highly doubt they will meet anything other than their doom based on the initial reactions they got from the engineers. Peter Weyland had full faith in the engineers loving him as one of their creations, and instead they squashed him as if he were an abomination. So, to bottom line this, the Alien movie franchise gives no mercy to faith of any kind, whether that faith is in the government, money, power, technology, religion, or yourself. The aliens work in such an ingenious way as their reproductive method combines the alien's DNA with its host, making them best suited for any environment that they infest. And they reproduce so quickly that they're almost impossible to wipe out. The aliens are a very advanced and well-tested biological design that has proven to work and win over and over again. If that's what these films are trying to tell us, then this is a series of movies showing that resistance against evolution is futile, because survival of the fittest is part of a science that will always win out. The humans and other species might win a battle, but the design of the aliens make it to where they will, over time, always win out, just because they have many superior evolutionary advantages over every other creature. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to like, subscribe, and share this video. I've also got a lot of other videos on my channel that you are fully encouraged to go check out. Plus, you can find me on Facebook at Say Halo Goodbye, which is my gamer tag, or Twitter at _Fanily.